Welcome back again. In earlier lecture, you understood client ID enforcement policy. Now, lastly, in this video, I'm going to discuss about how to apply rate limiting policy and SLA-based rate limiting policy. Very interesting policies. Let us see step by step. So firstly, I'll go to my API manager and I'll go into this policy. And if I go to policies, client ID enforcement is done. Right now, I will remove this policy. Okay, there are no policies for this. Now, I'm going to show you, explain you first, what is this rate limiting policy. So first of all, let's assume that this is my runtime and I have deployed my application here. So if there is only one instance running for my application, assume that I have Cloud Hub, okay? I've deployed 3 instances of the same API on Cloud Hub. So you know that in Cloud Hub, there will be load balancer. Request to come to load balancer will route to these instances. Fine. Now, assume that a client application is making a request. The request will go to one of the instances. But assume that some client application is making too many calls. Somebody wanted to crash my API intentionally. They have written a script which will make 1,000 requests per second. A script they have written to make 1,000 requests per second. What will happen? 1,000 requests will be load balanced across instances. But don't you think that these API instances will be busy serving this 1,000 requests per second? And if any other client is making a request, don't you think that response time is impacted? Yes, right? Because these instances are busy serving too many requests, the other client response time might be impacted. That means my API is not providing quality of service. My API sometimes becomes slow. My API can be crashed if some other client is bombarding too many requests like this, right? So I want to make sure that my API provides quality of service. For that, what I can do is I can implement a policy called as rate limiting policy. So basically, there are two ways how I can apply rate limiting. I'll tell you the first one. What I want to do is, first of all, in order to make sure that my APIs will not become slow. If my API is serving, let us say 500 requests per second, the CPU utilization also will increase, memory utilization also will increase. Thus, the server may become slow. So I want to limit saying that I want to accept only 50 requests per second. My API will accept only 50 requests per second. From any client, if there are 20 clients also which are making requests, number of clients, whoever the client may be making a request, if more than 50 requests are coming to my API, whenever I say my API, it is including all the instances. So whenever more than 50 requests are coming to my API, I want to reject saying too many requests. So if I have implemented this policy, as only 50 requests per second are coming to my entire instances, I'll ensure that the servers will not become slow. The CPU utilization will not grow, or memory consumption also will not grow. So that is a feature. Let us see how to implement this rate limiting. Very simple. I'll add a policy. I'm in the restaurants API. If you see under quality of service, I can see there is rate limiting. There are two things, rate limiting and rate limiting SLA based. I'll talk about SLA based rate limiting next. Now, let me talk about rate limiting. So I'll select next. Here it'll ask me number of requests. I want just for testing 3. In a time unit of 1 minute, time period is 1, number of requests is 3. So in 1 minute, I want to accept only 3 requests. That's all I configured. Apply. So I applied this policy. Let us wait until the policy gets downloaded here. Yeah, you can see the policy rate limiting is applied, and also you can see rate limiting folder under this policies folder. Fine. Now I'll go to Postman, and right now I don't need to send any client ID and secret because I have disabled client ID policy. Send first request, second request, third request, fourth request. I got 429 status code. Too many requests. Quota has been exceeded. So my API will get only 3 requests in 1 minute. Just for testing purpose, I've given 3 requests per minute. So now you understood this rate limiting policy. But the thing is, if there are 20 clients or 30 clients, together from all the clients, 3 requests per second. Oh, it will be good if I can impose rate limiting per client instead of having a rate limiting for all the clients. Yes, again, that is good. So what I want to do is, suppose if this is my instance running inside the runtime, assume that my API implementation is having multiple clients of different categories, client 1, client 2, like that, there are different clients. Actually, whenever somebody is making a request to my API, what I can do is, I can say I can sell my APIs, right? I can monetize my APIs also, actually. So based on the license amount which this client wants to pay, I want to give rate limiting accordingly, right? So based on the license amount which they are paying, I want to categorize my clients as gold clients. So suppose if they are paying good amount of license, I can say that they are gold clients. And I want to allow, let us say, 100 requests per second from a gold client. And if there is another client who is willing to pay me less amount, I will categorize them as silver clients. And for them, maybe I want to allow 10 requests per second. So I will have a service level agreement. I will have an SLA, service level agreement with client 1 saying that I will allow 100 requests per second. I'll have one more SLA with silver clients saying that I'll allow 10 requests per second for you. So that means I want to do rate limiting based on the SLAs with the clients. So for gold clients, I have an SLA, service level agreement, which says I have to allow 100 requests per second. And for silver clients, 10 requests per second, right? So how to enforce this rate limiting SLA based? Very interesting. Let us go and first let me remove this rate limiting. I will remove this. Fine. Now, for my API, I need to define the SLA tiers first of all. I will go to SLA tiers here. I can add n number of tiers. I will add a tier called as gold. And how do you want to approve if anybody is making a request for this API? Just like how I have shown you how a client can request access on portal or exchange. Similar way, approval will be done for these clients. So I'm saying gold, approval has to be manual. And for gold client, I want to allow 5 requests for a time period of 1 minute. Save. So I created a gold tier. Now I'll add silver. Approval has to be manual. Again, I'll give 2 requests per minute just for testing purpose. Okay. So I have configured 2 tiers. Now I will go to policies and simply I'll be able to apply under quality of service. I will apply rate limiting SLA based. Okay, next. Oh, this policy is saying it expects client ID and secret. Actually, if you are applying this rate limiting SLA based policy, client ID enforcement is also done, right? So without a client ID and secret, this policy does not understand who is a client, whether the client is a gold client or a silver client. So this rate limiting policy SLA based is a type of client ID enforcement policy only. So it is also expecting headers, client ID and secret. Okay, one more thing actually. Your API RAML has to be modified because somebody who is using your RAML, they should know that we are expecting client ID and secret, right? So whenever this policy is applied, you need to make changes in your RAML also and make sure that in your RAML also, you are describing this headers, client ID and secret. So I'm just configuring this policy, apply. So I applied rate limiting SLA based. Good. Now, let us wait until this policy gets applied. I should see the log here. Yes, I can see that rate limiting SLA based has been applied. Now, let me try to access this. Without sending the client ID and secret, it is saying invalid client ID or secret. So this policy, SLA-based rate limiting policy, is a type of client ID enforcement policy. Okay. Now to access this API, we need to ID and secret. So I will send client ID and secret. This is the client ID and secret of this third-party app for which a permission has been granted. So I'm sending this. It is saying quota has been exceeded, right? So it is not allowing. The client is valid, but for him, there is no quota at all, right? So what I will do is, I'll go here to my applications. This is another application. What I will do is, again, I'll go to this API, home. Again, I will request access for another app. For this API, I'll create a new application. I'll say SLA based client. I can just give any name. Okay. So now it is asking for this API now, as I have enabled tiers. Now it is asking me, earlier this was disabled, if you have observed. When I was talking about client ID enforcement, this was disabled because there was no SLA based policy applied. Now as there are tiers, I can select. I have selected, I'm making a request access for gold tier. Okay, request access. Here it is saying request has been received and is pending. Okay. So API owner should have received this requests, right? So I'll go to API manager, client applications. Here you can see for SLA based client on contract is pending. Earlier was okay. Now this is pending. Now what I can do, here I can see requested SL tier is gold. Now what? Suppose if I am monetizing my APIs, I can check what this client is paying, whether he is paying for the gold tier or not. If yes, I can approve. If the client has not yet made the payment or whatever, I can reject as well. Now I want to approve. So I approved for gold tier, right? So now for this SLA based client, if I click on, okay, again, if I go to the my applications, so this client is having two applications, SLA based client. If I select, this is the client ID of the SLA based client app. I'll copy, paste, and I'll copy secret as well. Now if I send, see, first time I got a response, second time, third time, fourth time, fifth time, sixth time, quota exceeded. So because this client is a gold client, right? 6 requests are allowed. Sorry, 5 requests are allowed according to the SLA, right? So that is how I can implement this SLA rate limiting SLA based policy, right? I hope you are clear. Now, before I end, let me tell you, if I go to this API, at the left side, there are policies, and you can add multiple policies as well, right? So these are the policies for this particular API. But let us say in my organization, I have some 10 APIs. And for 10 APIs, I want some common policies. Like client ID enforcement policy is a common policy. So if I want some policies to be applied to all my APIs, what I can do is I can go to API manager, and here there is something called as automated policies. I can click on add policy. Now, same policies, whatever we saw inside, same policies are there. You can apply. For example, I can go to compliance, client ID enforcement. Next, finish, apply. So this policy is automated policy. This will be applied to all APIs running under the sandbox environment, right? Now, if I just go back to API administration and go here to this API and go to policies, you can see in the automated policy, client ID enforcement policy is there. So now you understood how to apply policies specific to an API, how to apply automated policies for all the APIs within the environment. So that's about the API management. This day 27, I guess, is a bigger day where you have a lot of learning. I wanted you to again follow this video and follow the steps, step by step. Follow whatever I have done and see it on your machine again and again, I'm saying. So with this, we have completed our day 27, and I'm ending this Mule developer training. Maybe in next videos, in next maybe another playlist or so, I will add few more advanced concepts. But these are the concepts which are sufficient for Mulesoft developer exam as well. Actually, in Mulesoft official training, these are the agenda. These are the topics in the agenda. In the Mulesoft official developer training as well, and I have covered much more than that. Actually, in Mulesoft developer training, the data wave is not in depth. They cover this data wave concepts in a separate course, but I have covered entire in-depth data wave and all this. So after completing this, if you again review all the videos, you'll be able to clear the certification exam. So I'll create a separate playlist where I will discuss about some certification questions. I have some dumps, certification dumps, the questions which appeared in previous exams. So I will explain, and I will create some more videos that will help you to clear MuleSoft certified developer course level 1 or level 2 very easily you will be able to clear. That's all. Thank you for attending this training, and please like all my videos and share to your friends. Let my course reach many people so that it will be helpful to everyone. Thank you. With this note, I am ending this Mulesoft's in-depth developer training. Thank you.